I am Reed, I am 27, just an average dude. I've made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. Alright, let me tell you about something that has been absolutely bugging me. I saw the story about Amazon Luna and what they are doing to their users, and honestly, it made me so mad I had to sit down and talk about it because this is not just some niche gaming drama. This is a warning sign for every single person who has ever bought anything digital. And let me be real with you, I have made plenty of dumb financial decisions in my 20s. I used to buy things I could not afford, I used to swipe first and think later, but what Amazon is doing here makes my past mistakes look like nothing, because at least when I blew money on takeout or random stuff from the mall, that was my fault, I made the choice, and I learned from it. But this situation is different. This is a massive corporation taking your hard-earned money and then telling you that what you bought was never really yours to begin with, and they are getting away with it. So here's what happened. On the 10th of June 2026, Amazon is permanently shutting down access to every single game purchased on their cloud gaming platform Luna. If you bought a game on Luna before April 2026 when they quietly closed the individual game purchase option, you are about to lose everything. All those games you paid for gone. No refunds, no compensation, nothing. And the most insane part is Amazon is basically saying, yeah, we know we took your money, but legally you never actually owned those games. You just had a temporary license to access them through our service, and now we are done providing that service. So bye. Let me break down the timeline because it gets worse the more you dig into it. Back in April 2026, Amazon quietly shut down the option to buy individual games on Luna. They did not make a big announcement about it. They did not send out emails warning people. They just quietly removed the buying option and hoped nobody would notice. Then they waited until June to drop the bombshell that all purchased games would become unplayable. So if you bought a game on Luna anytime before April, you were sitting on a ticking bomb and you did not even know it. The games you thought you owned were already scheduled for deletion. The money you spent was already gone with no chance of getting it back, and the craziest part is this is not some small indie platform that went bankrupt and had no choice. Amazon is literally one of the most valuable companies on the planet. Their market cap is over $1 trillion. They run AWS, which powers half the internet. They have more money than they could ever spend. And they are choosing to screw over their own customers instead of doing the right thing. Compare this to when Google shut down Stadia. Google is not exactly known for being generous either, but when Stadia died, Google refunded every single purchase. Every game, every ad, on every dollar spent went back to the players. That was the decent thing to do. Amazon looked at that precedent and said, nah, we are keeping the money. Their legal team studied what Google did, analyzed every loophole, and then decided to keep every cent. That tells you everything you need to know about where their priorities are. Now here's where it gets personal for me. I grew up in a household where money was tight. My parents worked hard, but we did not have extra cash lying around for video games. When I finally started earning my own money in my early 20s, one of the first things I did was buy a gaming console and some games. It felt amazing. I finally had something that was mine. I saved up for weeks to afford a new release, and when I brought that physical disc home, I could hold it in my hands. Nobody could take it away from me. If the power went out, I could still play. If the internet went down, I could still play. If the company that made the game went bankrupt, I could still play. That physical disc was mine and nobody could say otherwise, but somewhere along the way, we all got convinced to give that up. We were told digital was the future, no more scratch discs, no more swapping cartridges. No more cluttering up your shelf, everything would live in the cloud, your whole library would follow you everywhere. And it sounded great, it sounded like progress. But what we did not realize at the time was that we were trading ownership for convenience. We were trading something real for something that could be taken away with the click of a button. Let me show you exactly how they trick us. There is a court case happening in California right now that exposes the whole scam. A woman named Lisa filed a class action lawsuit against Amazon back in August 2025. She bought a movie on Amazon for $20.79. She clicked the buy button, the website said buy, the confirmation said purchased. Everything looked like a normal transaction. Then one day that movie disappeared from her library. Just gone. No warning, no explanation. When she contacted Amazon, they basically told her tough luck. And here's the part that made me angry. Amazon's legal team showed up in court and argued that the word buy does not actually mean you own something. They literally pulled out a dictionary and said, look, the word buy just means you paid money to access our service. It does not mean permanent ownership. So if we stop providing the service, your purchase becomes void. Do you understand how insane that is? If I go to a grocery store and buy a loaf of bread, and then the grocery store comes to my house the next day and takes that bread out of my kitchen saying, actually, you just paid for temporary access to eat it in our store. We changed our mind, give it back, I would call the police. But somehow in the digital world, this is legal. California actually passed a law called AB 2426 back in January 2025 that was supposed to stop this exact behavior. The law says if you are selling a digital product that can be taken away from the consumer, you cannot use words like buy or purchase unless you clearly disclose that it is actually just a revocable license. You have to put a huge warning right next to the buy button. You have to make sure the customer knows what they are actually getting. But Amazon and other companies are fighting this law hard. They are betting that most people will not read the fine print. They are betting that regular people cannot afford to take $1 trillion corporation to court. And honestly, they are probably right about most of that. How many of us actually read the terms of service before clicking accept? How many of us know what we are signing away when we create an account? I used to be the same way. I would click through any agreement without reading a single word. But after making some dumb financial mistakes in my early 20s, I started paying more attention to the fine print. I started reading contracts before signing. And let me tell you, once you start looking, you realize how many traps are hidden in plain sight. But here's the thing, the fight is not over. There is a movement called Stop Killing Games that started because of what Ubisoft did when they shut down the servers for a game called The Crew. They basically killed the game completely. No offline mode, no way to play it, even single player. Just gone. And a group of dedicated players got so angry that they started a petition in Europe. Within a couple years, they collected over 1.2 million signatures. That is not a typo. 1.2 million people signed a petition saying we are tired of companies destroying the products we paid for. And in April 2026, this movement actually got a hearing at the European Parliament. Real politicians sat down and listened to gamers talk about how their digital libraries were being wiped out. The European Economic and Social Committee held a debate about it in May, and now the European Commission has to respond by the 16th of June 2026. This is huge. This is the first time I have seen real political momentum behind the idea that digital purchases should actually mean something. The movement is not just about games either. It is about movies, music, books, anything you buy online. Because once the principle is established that companies can delete your purchases at any time, without consequence, there's nothing stopping them from doing it to everything. And Amazon is right in the middle of this storm. They are the test case. If they get away with shutting down Luna and keeping everyone's money without any compensation, it sets a dangerous precedent for every other digital store. Apple could do it, Microsoft could do it, Sony could do it, Steam could do it, and they would all point to Amazon and say, well, they did it, so why can't we? That is why this matters so much. It is not just about a few thousand Luna users losing access to their games. It is about whether we as consumers have any rights at all in the digital marketplace. Now let me talk about why Amazon is doing this, because it is not random. Amazon has a terrible history with video games. They have been trying to break into the gaming industry since 2012. They bought Twitch for almost $1 billion in 2014, which was a smart move. Then in 2016, they announced 3 big budget games, and basically every single one of them failed. One got canceled before release. Another one called Crucible cost $80 million to develop and failed so badly that it was taken down after only 41 days. Let me repeat that, $80 million. And the game lasted 41 days. The free trial on a meditation app lasts longer than that. Then there was New World, which actually had a pretty good launch with almost 1 million concurrent players, but then the bugs and exploits destroyed the economy, and Amazon had to disable entire features just to keep the game running. It was a disaster. A company that runs the cloud infrastructure for half the internet could not figure out how to run a video game server without breaking everything. After burning through billions of dollars and over a decade of failures, Amazon gave up on making games and retreated to the safest, lowest risk option they could find. That option was Luna, and the strategy for Luna was simple. No more individual game sales, no more third-party stores, just a curated subscription library that Amazon controls completely. You pay $9.99 a month and you get access to whatever games they decide to put in the catalog. They can add games, they can remove games, they can change the price, and you have no say in any of it. This is the subscription model that every company wants because it transfers all the risk to the consumer. You are paying every month, but you own nothing. If you stop paying, you lose everything. And when they decide to shut down the whole service, they just walk away with all the money you paid over the years. Here's the part that really gets me. Amazon is also removing the Bring Your Own Games feature from Luna on the 3rd of June. This feature let you take games you bought from other platforms like Ubisoft or EA and play them on Luna using Amazon's cloud servers. So even if you bought a game somewhere else fair and square and just wanted to stream it through Luna, that option is gone too. They are not just taking away the games you bought on their platform. They are cutting off every possible way to use their service with games you already own. It is like they want to make sure nobody gets any value out of anything. And then there is the save data situation. If you have spent hundreds of hours building up progress in a game on Luna, Amazon says you have 90 days after the 10th of June to download your save files. After that, they will be permanently deleted from their servers. No extensions, no exceptions. But here is the kicker. They do not even guarantee that those save files will work on other platforms. They say, oh, just download your saves and test them on other platforms to see if they work. So you might spend hours trying to transfer your progress and it might just not work. All that time and effort gone, they stole your games, they stole your money, and now they might steal your progress too. And they have the audacity to act like they are doing you a favor by giving you a 90-day window to maybe salvage something. I want to be clear about something. This is not just a gaming problem. This is a consumer rights problem that affects every single person who has ever bought a digital product. Think about your Kindle books. Think about the movies you have purchased on Amazon Prime Video. Think about the music you bought on iTunes. Think about the apps you paid for on your phone. How many of those would actually survive if the company decided to shut down the service? Most of them would disappear just like these Luna games. And here's the scary part. Amazon has already done this before with Kindle. They quietly removed the option to download ebooks to your computer for local backup. That was the last line of defense for readers who wanted to keep their books even if Amazon decided to remove them. Amazon said it was to prevent piracy, but what it really did was make sure that every book you bought was only accessible through their servers. Then in May 2026, they announced that 12 Kindle devices would lose the ability to buy or download new books entirely. The devices were perfectly fine, they were not broken, but Amazon decided to brick them. Anyway, two different platforms, one company, the same predatory playbook, take away control from the consumer, make sure everything depends on their servers, then when it is convenient, change the rules and walk away with the money. So what can you actually do about this? I am not going to give you some magical solution because honestly, the system is rigged against the average person, but there are a few things I have learned from my own mistakes that might help you protect yourself. Number 1, stop buying digital if you can help it. I know physical media is not as convenient, I know it takes up space, but if you buy a physical copy of a game, a movie, or a book, nobody can take it away from you. You can sell it, you can lend it to a friend, you can keep it for 50 years, and it will still work. That is real ownership. Number 2, if you do buy digital, buy from platforms that have a proven track record of respecting customers. Steam, for example, has been around for over 20 years and they have not pulled anything like this. But even then, you are trusting that they will not change their policy someday. Number 3, support organizations and movements that are fighting for digital consumer rights. The Stop Killing Games movement needs more signatures. The class action lawsuits against Amazon need public support. Politicians need to hear from voters that this issue matters. Number 4, read the terms of service before you buy something expensive. I know it is boring, I know it takes time, but 5 minutes of reading could save you hundreds of dollars down the line. Look for words like license, non-exclusive, revocable, and at any time. Those are red flags. Number 5, diversify your media consumption. Do not put all your entertainment in one ecosystem. If you have all your movies on Amazon, all your games on Luna, and all your books on Kindle, you are completely dependent on one company. Spread your purchases across different platforms so that if one company goes rogue or shuts down, you do not lose everything at once. I have made a lot of mistakes with money in my 20s. I have bought things I could not afford. I have paid for subscriptions I never used. I have ignored bills until they became emergencies. But one thing I have learned is that the most expensive mistake you can make is trusting a corporation to do the right thing. They are not your friend. They are not looking out for you. They are looking out for their shareholders. And that means your ownership, your rights, and your hard-earned money are always at risk. The Luna situation is a wake-up call for everyone who thought digital ownership was real. It is not, at least not yet. But maybe if enough people get angry enough and organized enough and loud enough, we can change that. Maybe we can force laws that actually protect consumers. Maybe we can make it illegal to call something a purchase when it is really just a temporary license. Maybe we can build a digital world where when you click buy, you actually own what you paid for. Until then, be careful with your money, be careful with your trust, and remember that if it lives in the cloud, it can disappear just as fast. Peace.